All right. Welcome to one and all present here. This is Ms. Khyati Dwarkadas, the resource person for the afternoon, welcoming you once again into today's session on inquiry-based learning, hosted by Patliputra Sahoday School Complex. I express my deep gratitude to Sri Rajiv Ranjan Sinha sir and Insha Rahman ma'am, who have been gracious enough to invite me to conduct this webinar and, of course, exchange my learnings with you. I'd love to have an interactive session provided you're able to chat with me somehow. I would love to see an interactive session. It will make a lot of difference. Otherwise, we'll continue as best as we can. At any point in time you have some difficulty, I request PSSC to please let me know if my audio is not heard. I am new to this platform, so I deeply apologize for any of the technical glitches that we may be facing. I also extend my heartfelt gratitude to Sri Tarun Kumar Sir, Joint Secretary, CBSE Training, and former head CBSE COE Patna for connecting us together and putting us together on this one beautiful platform. So let's begin today's session without much ado. Is my screen visible to you? PSSC, is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. So, if you could please tell me what is inquiry-based learning? Could anybody tell me? What is inquiry-based learning? Would the chat be on or would it be off?
Ma'am, there is a option, a Q&A section. You can check it there.
But where would I see it? If I'm sharing my screen, I'm not able to see meeting controls.
Ma'am, you can use Alt tab to switch the.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, if anybody could please tell me what is inquiry-based learning? You can mention in the chat. Inquiry-based learning का मतलब क्या है? What do we understand by inquiry-based learning? I'm surprised there is zero response. All right. Nonetheless, I'll tell you what is inquiry-based learning. Inquiry-based learning basically is a method in which you pose a lot of questions and you answer them, find answers, help students to find their own answers. It's like students literally moving beyond the regular method of study where we had a chalk and talk, we write on the blackboard and we make them copy. We move out of the conventional teaching learning style and we encourage students to think for themselves. So in inquiry-based learning, there is always a question. That is the problem. And as teachers, we spend some time asking questions about the problem and what solutions might need to be found for that question. Then we investigate. So spend time investigating and researching the problem, give the students some time to research and ask them to come up with solutions. Students will then make plans and record steps to come up with solutions. Create a plan and a prototype and a course of action based on research. And ultimately apply all research and plans, evaluating processes, and make changes as necessary. Then there should be an interactive discussion where you share your progress and outcomes, analyzing and looking for alternative explanations. And ultimately, the teacher is always supposed to be reflecting on the project, and so will the students reflect on the project, considering any changes and modifications and improvements that could be made. So with this, I'm going to switch tabs. And I hope till here you were with me and you could see me and hear me through. And now I'm going to be sharing another tab with you on how to frame inquiry-based questions. So there are a couple of essential inquiry-based questions. We need to think and ponder about what are they, how do we as teachers frame them, and what tools can we use to develop these essential inquiry-based questions. So we use the 5W method, the who, what, when, where, how, and why. Now, normally, what do we say when a question begins with a W? We normally assume that it is a W kind of a question. Hence, it is not a higher order question. But do not assume that only non-inquiry based questions begin with the 5 Ws. Neither should we assume that every question beginning with a W also is an inquiry based question. Normally हम बोलते ही है कि who, what, when is a lower order question. But the who, what, when can be an inquiry based question, and the why, which, how can also be a non-inquiry based question. So look at the examples of inquiry based questions from the simple ones that we have. Examples of inquiry based questions begin with what defines success. Now that question is so deep rooted that you need to think so much about success to even know the meaning of success. Who is a true leader? That can bring you to such a big and multiple brainstormed answers. So who is a true leader? You need to really have deep research. We are not asking you the names of leaders. We are asking you what defines, what are the qualities of a true leader. Or when is work fun? Who likes to go to school daily? When is work fun? What is it in the workplace that makes the work fun? So you're making the student think. You're making a human being think. That is inquiry based. And if I was to take on non-inquiry based questions, I would say, why did World War I start? It is like a recall. Which letters are vowels? So vowels and consonants. How did Mary return to her country? Did she fly? Did she take a plane? Did she take a walk? So let's take a quick look at the characteristics of essential inquiry questions. They have to be thought-provoking. They have to hit the higher order thinking skills. They are based on discovery and exploration, which is beyond the textbook. It raises additional questions. It sparks further inquiry. It requires justification and support of ideas. It helps you to revisit concepts based on acquired new knowledge. Transferable concepts, ideas, and thoughts are always found in this method. So when you take a summary of it, an essential inquiry question stimulates thought, provokes learning beyond the book, provokes further question research, invites further probing concepts, and generates curiosity about the world around us. It's only when this happens that inquiry will increase. Now, let us take a quick look at the tools for framing essential inquiry-based questions. Now, there is a question matrix that we normally follow on inquiry-based questions. On one side, you can see the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, how, and why. And on the other side, on the other axis, you're seeing the verbs of the Bloom's taxonomy: is, does, has, did, was, can, should, would, could, will, might. And they are from the lower order to the higher order of the Bloom's taxonomy. So whenever you're framing a question, you need to pick up one word from the vertical axis and one word from the horizontal axis in the same question. So observe this image. When you observe this image, I need you to frame one question in the chat box using the Q&A tab from one word of the vertical axis and one word of the horizontal axis. For example, where did this event occur? So I have used where and I have used did, which is from here. So I'm going to switch tabs and look at what you are writing in the chat box. So in the meantime, I will have to stop sharing to visit the chat box and see what you are writing there. One word from the vertical line and one word from the horizontal line must be used. आपको ये करना है एक्टिविटी अभी चैट बॉक्स में. मैंने जो अभी आपको चित्र दिखाया उसका एक प्रश्न आपको चैट बॉक्स में बनाना है. वो कौन सी घटना थी या उसके बारे में एक या दो प्रश्न बनाने हैं चैट बॉक्स में अभी. जैसे मैंने बताया, where did this event occur? Why am I not able to see the chat move? All right, so I can see some Gaurav ji having written a teaching method that encourages students to ask questions. Great. Krishna has said, inquiry-based learning is a learning process that engages students by making real-world connections through exploration, high-level questioning. It is an approach to learning that encourages students to engage in problem-solving and experiential learning. Congratulations, Krishna. Okay. Dr. Shruti, what reforms were introduced in 1991? Okay. Um, M. Neha, what is he doing? Perfect. Rajnikant, how did the event occur? Gauravji says, where was the Battle of Panipat fought? Why were so many battles fought in Panipat? And there is another person down whose name is not very visible due to the glare. But this other person says, please share the picture again. So let me share my screen one more time. I think now my screen is visible to you. This is the image I was talking about. There's a man with a animal, probably a undernourished buffalo, on a barren land in the picture. And we need to find questions using the question matrix. So let me see how many of you are now able to give me questions. I did share the picture again for those of you who've been requesting. What was the condition there? Why is this area having a drought? Lovely. What does the man do for a living? Great. Congratulations to you. So we have a whole lot of pictures there. A whole lot of questions there. And at least we have now started making our own brains think. We are heading towards inquiry. So now I'll show you some of the other questions. To stimulate thought. So what is this scene showing? Where did this happen? When did this happen? What can be done to prevent such a situation? How can one survive under such conditions? What might rainwater harvesting do, or would rainwater harvesting be a good solution? When might rainwater harvesting not be a good solution? And there are so many other questions that one can form. But when you see this kind of a picture, you can see the arrows. There are certain questions which check the surface understanding or the superficial level. When as you go lower down the W's, you can see deep understanding. Similarly, when you are on the horizontal axis, you are able to see surface understanding questions to your left and deep understanding questions using the might on the right. So with questions, you are also posing competencies, you are also showing creativity, critical thinking, and problem solving skills. So it is really a big myth. You know, what did we do? We spoke about thought provoking questions, which are the characteristics of essential inquiry based questions. We spoke about the myth about question starters, कि जब हम who what when use करते हैं तो वो lower order होता है. हमने who what when से हायर ऑर्डर क्वेश्चन भी बनाकर दिखाए और हमने क्वेश्चन मैट्रिक्स का भी प्रयोग किया कि हम क्वेश्चन मैट्रिक्स को कैसे इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं अच्छे प्रश्न बनाने में। तो ये देखिए एक टेडी बेयर है या एक भालू है यहाँ पर। And the question is, what are the main causes of animal endangerment? ये मेरी ओर से क्वेश्चन मैट्रिक्स का यूज करते हुए एक प्रश्न बना हुआ है। आपको उसी क्वेश्चन मैट्रिक्स 5 W's on one side and the is, was, as, might, could, would वाला ऊपर वाले मैट्रिक्स में दोनों शब्द का प्रयोग करके प्रश्न एक और बनाना है। क्वेश्चन मैट्रिक्स में दोबारा दिखा देती हूँ आपको। ये है क्वेश्चन मैट्रिक्स, केवल इस चित्र की जगह पर हमने भालू रख दिया। ये वाला भालू, भालू को मदद चाहिए। So I'll stop sharing my screen so that I'm able to see your chat and the questions that you're creating for the bear. Okay. So what measures were taken by the government to help the man? How is cow grazing? Okay. Somebody has a very interesting question, that is Mr. Sandeep, who is saying, how can we make students more engaged in the classroom? So it's only when we show an image and we ask these kind of questions that learning and student engagement levels will be high. Now imagine me just talking here for 1 hour and you just listening to me for 1 hour without any interaction. How boring could that get? So for making this session lively and engaging and to give you the feel that we are sitting offline in front of each other, I am asking you so many questions. Apparently today I am asking you only inquiry-based questions. Okay, so there is Sonam here, who's giving me the history of inquiry-based learning from Google as a pedagogical practice of the 1960s. Apparently, that pedagogical practice is very, very useful as a pedagogical tool in today's 21st century classrooms under competency-based education. So there is another question I see very interesting over here from Om. Why is the bear asking for help? Brilliant, Om. Then there is Pushpa Singh saying, how can we save the animals from getting extinct? Wow. What should be done to help the bear? Suggest measures to protect endangered animals. Neha, wonderful. Dipti, your message currently is visible to me. Gyanendra says, what could be the solution to this problem of helping the bear? And there is Ram Krishna something who says, why does the bear need help? Wow, I'm so happy that we are all on the same page. How are human activities pushing animals out of their natural habitat? Congratulations, Rachna. Which methods can be used to help the bear? Wow. How can we stop poaching and hunting of animals? Good going, Ravi Ranjan. Okay. And there is Anshu, who's so very concerned about the animal, that says, ma'am, the injured animal needs help. Yes, we are going to give help to the injured animal and to the disengaged classroom. How can we help the bear? What could be the first step we do for the protection of animals? Why do bears love honey? How is global warming affecting polar bears? Now, have you noticed what we have done? This was an image in the geography textbook of grade 10. What we have done is we have taken conservation of animals as a topic. With your questions, we have connected geography, science, social science, language, and we have stimulated the thought process. We have taken it back to climate change. We have taken it to global warming. Why is the bear undernourished? How can a teacher spread sensible approach towards animals? Why are animals hunted? Asks Cheryl Jha. Okay. Which method could establish a proper environment for both animals and us? Interdisciplinary project can be undertaken this way. How can we stop animal extinction? How do they both live in harmony, man and animal? आप सभी के लिए बहुत बहुत तालियां मेरी ओर से. आप लोग बैंग ऑन इंक्वायरी बेस्ड लर्निंग पर हैं. यदि आप सोशल साइंस के अध्यापक हैं तो आपको और भी बधाइयां कि आज का पेपर भी ऐसे ही प्रश्नों से भरा हुआ है. और यदि आप आज इन प्रश्नों को बना पा रहे हैं तो ये आपके अंदर की इंक्वायरी बेस्ड लर्निंग को जागृत करना मेरा सफल रहा है. So now we shall proceed with the webinar today. This is what we were on. ये सारे प्रश्न आपने मुझे बेर के बारे में बताए. So some more questions. Which is a more beneficial environment for endangered animals? You have to take the right choice. A zoo, a national park. Why? Give reasons to support your answer. What might be some rules that you would make to preserve the endangered animals in your country? तो बच्चा इन बातों को सोचकर, आपने तो ये पूछ लिया, पर बच्चा इन बातों को सोचकर सही उत्तर लिखना, अपने दिमाग का प्रयोग करके, क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग का प्रयोग करके इंक्वायरी बेस्ड लर्निंग की ओर बढ़ेगा. और जैसे ही हम इन प्रश्नों की आदत डालेंगे, हमारे लिए भी अच्छा है और हमारी बच्चों की सोच बदलना शुरू हो जाएगी. What might be some of the alternate ways by which humans can protect endangered animals? How do you feel about the promotion of tourism to habitants of animals? And what risks do zoos and national parks pose? उसी के साथ हमने ये 5 कलर के बॉक्स देखे थे अभी अभी. तो इन 5 कलर के बॉक्स को हमने इन 6 हैट्स में कवर कर लिया है. अभी आप देखेंगे तो 6 की 6 टोपियां, जिनके हम 6 थिंकिंग हैट्स कहते हैं, उनको हमने ब्लूम्स टैक्सोनॉमी से भी मिला ली है. So the white hat stands for remembering and recall, which is the lowest order of Bloom's taxonomy. The red hat for understanding, yellow for applying, black for analyzing, blue for evaluating, green for creativity. And you can see here, I have used 5 out of the 6 hats. Then questions in inquiry-based learning can also be classified into 3 categories: factual questions, concept-based questions, and debatable questions. So when you talk about factual questioning, it is basically recall, fact-based, knowledge-based questioning. Conceptual questioning is exploring bigger ideas to connect facts, test concepts, and to go beyond the textbook, where you're trying to transfer big data. And finally, you have debatable facts, जिसके pros भी होंगे, cons भी होंगे. You have a side for it and a side against it. तो जैसे सोशल साइंस की मैं बात कर लूं तो वर्ल्ड वॉर 1 में ही मैं तीनों प्रकार के प्रश्न आपको दिखा देती हूँ. Factual questions are what caused World War I? What caused it to break out? What caused it to end? मैं concept जब टेस्ट करना चाह रही हूँ तो how can the political issues influence the starting of a war? How might a revolution be different from a war? अब देखिए, मैं वही क्वेश्चन मैट्रिक्स का इस्तेमाल कर रही हूँ. Debatable questioning क्या हो गया? Do we have to fight wars or can we resolve issues amicably through peace? So what is our big idea or concept is inquiry. अब मैं आपको कुछ images और दिखाऊंगी और आप मुझे बताइए how are these images connected. तो पहले हम एक आधी मिनट तक इन चित्रों को देखेंगे और मैं स्क्रीन शेयरिंग स्टॉप कर देती हूँ ताकि मैं आपके चैट पढ़ पाऊँ. इन सारी इमेजेस को कनेक्ट करने वाला वो एकमात्र क्या है? सूत्र. I have stopped screen sharing so that I can go back to the chat. Okay, and I'm happy that people are also answering a lot of questions that I pose in the chat box. Thank you so much. Creativity and comparison between IBL and critical thinking. Thank you so much for that. अब देखिए लोगों ने क्या क्या बताया है. This is a traffic rule or there is communication, Lopamudra says. Dipesh says it is education. But another person says it is adjusting and helping, interaction among people, safety at home. Carelessness, willing to communicate and collaborate, road safety. भैया रोड सेफ्टी वीक जनवरी में हो चुका है टिल मिड फरवरी. आजकल रोड सेफ्टी नहीं चल रही है पर फिर भी मैं आपको बता दूं this entire concept was not only about road safety, it had a lot more deeper meanings to it. It was deep rooted into Indian culture, Indian lifestyle, Indian fellowship. The way we contribute to community is an important idea behind that image, a multiple image. हम अपने देश के प्रति क्या कर रहे हैं? How do we protect democracy? What are the steps we are taking in favor of democracy? That's our big concept behind those images. The way we contribute to our communities is an important part of democracy. The way we contribute to our communities is an important part of democracy. इन बातों पर एक शिक्षक बनकर हम कुछ समय बिता सकते हैं अपने अपनी कक्षाओं में to talk about democracy. So when I'm talking even about concepts, an inquiry concept is something that helps us to understand the world around us, like the cause and effect relationship. It is not a topic or a content, but it helps us to think deeper about our learning. So for this unit, what according to you would be the ideal concepts? By now you have understood that we are talking about community partnerships in democracy. So what are the other concepts we would have learned in this unit? You may brainstorm your ideas and put them as concept 1 and concept 2. Prioritize your concepts and segregate them this way. So in this unit, then we are going to today learn about 3 concepts: rules and laws, community, and democracy. Now you see, we have done a complete different picture. I showed you a sample lesson. So I would be showing some images of those kinds. I would have taken a discussion forward and then come to today's learning outcomes. That today we would be learning about rule and law, community, and democracy. Then I would ask my students to write down some questions they have about the big idea or the concept. So they would write about 4 questions on their notepads. And I would then ask them where the students would like to begin research. And that is going to pose us with a question time. We would then have to give them a special time for the narrative writing. So I hope you have understood this much very, very clearly. I had kept a time here for the videos which I am unable to share sound with you. But in case if you have any difficulty or doubt, do let me know in the chat box immediately so I can try and clear it for you. All right. So I like Subhash Kumar Chino. I like Lopamudra's answer where she's saying, telling students not to use unparliamentary language. आप अपनी ओर से कोई प्रश्न पूछना चाह रहे हो तो प्लीज पूछिए मुझे जो पूछना है आप ही के बेटरमेंट के लिए हम यहाँ वेबिनार में मिल रहे हैं All right, so there is an interesting question again from Lopamudra, and the question says, like in inquiry-based learning, can we insist that students go for field work like they would have gone for other research work? Now, there is nothing like insisting on that. It depends on the school's safety policy. There are many schools today who do not allow students to go for a field visit for interviews and surveys. Times are not good. So, in the interest of the students only, many schools do not permit it. That does not mean that the school will not let the students think. Lopamutra, I hope I answered your question. Okay, how to divert students from using unfair means in examination? I think we'll do another topic on that. We'll do another session on that. You inform Patliputra Sahodaya that you want that session from me. I will definitely take it up. But do you have any other particular questions for me? I'd love to hear from you if you could have some questions for me. So there's a Robin who's very content with what we did today. So here I can also see that a lot of you are writing in. Yes, how inquiry-based learning will help in a problem-solving approach. Gauravji, a very good question. Now, inquiry-based learning is going to make a student think. And like I showed you in the very first couple of slides, inquiry-based learning is going to make teachers ask questions to students where they go and find the solution to the problem. So it will always help in the problem solving approach. I have a lot of videos to show you, and apparently since the video connect is not working, what I have done is I have eliminated the videos and taken the session forward. That's how we are finishing a bit early today. So I had actually downloaded got you 3 videos to share. Had that been possible, we could have taken the session a bit differently. Okay, so there is another question from Gaurav Jeet. Okay. The question says, how can inquiry-based learning be useful? Now, if you think it is not useful, then we are both wasting our time today. It is when you enter a class and you start, asking thought-provoking questions that catch the student's attention. They will start thinking. They will start developing a sense of inquiry. That is how inquiry-based learning will be more useful. And Savitri Kumari has this question. Is the structure of inquiry the same for all classes? Yes, the structure of inquiry is the same for all classes. Then Dipti has a question, just wanted a special session on in-building ethics and culture in today's students. Okay, so if you want all these topics from me, you inform Patliputra Sahoday, particularly Rajiv Ranjan Sinha sir and Incha Rahman ma'am, and I will definitely take on these topics in future. These are also my favorite topics. Somebody who mentioned earlier about cheating in the examinations as well as ethics and culture. I would love to take on these. Okay. Ravi Ranjanji, it's a very good question. What is the solution for those students who don't want to pay attention in class and always keep talking? There's no solution to it. The only other solution is that you keep them engaged with a lot more thought-provoking questions. Most students who learn outside school, in some coaching center, in some tuition class, are the ones who are talking at all points in time. They are the ones who are deeply distracted in the class. So the minute you ask a question which they have not learned in their class or in their coaching center, they will automatically be attracted towards the class. So the entire thought process for the student will change. Now, Dipti says inquiry-based questions creates a curiosity in the students and hence helps their self-development and personality building. Thank you, Dipti. All right. So this is Pushpa Singh again. Pushpa Singh, are you? Which subject do you teach? Do you teach social science? I presume you are talking about social science, Pushpa Singh ji, because this absolutely applied to the social science paper, except a question here and there. But what surprised me was in every region, I think a question paper was repeated only in 2 or 3 regions. And therefore, with multiple sets opening up this time at grade 10, uh, it was really, really interesting. Wow. So, Dipti, I am really impressed. Yes, Pushpa Singh ji, I agree with you completely. But what I noticed was there were multiple sets of the same paper, close to 10 sets in different regions. So the questions differed, though the simplicity of the questions did not. Okay. There is one method in which you can measure inquiry. That's Gauravji, a very brilliant question. What you can actually do is you can constantly take classes using IBL or inquiry based learning. And once you are into it, you will automatically see the difference in the next test. So when you do a next formative assessment of the unit you have covered through IBL, you will see the change. Gyanendra ji, there is no ratio to giving inquiry based questions. Inquiry based comes under the heading of competency based only. So your competency based questions can be divided into all kinds. All right, so with this, I would close the discussion and make my humble submission to Patliputra Sahodaya School Complex. Once again, expressing my deepest gratitude to Sri Tarun Kumar Sir, Joint Secretary, CBSE Training, and former Head Center of Excellence, Patna, for connecting us together on this beautiful platform. I extend my deep gratitude to Dr. Rajiv Ranjan Sinha from Patliputra Sahodaya School Complex and Ms. Insha Rahman, also from PSSC, for inviting me today to take this webinar. I hope I have done justice to today's session, and I hope I have, though new to this Zoho platform, I hope I have made enough connect with all of you, dear participants, to be able to take back something for your classrooms. If you have anything to take back for your classrooms or you have a feedback for me, please feel free to write it in the chat box under the Q&A tab, and I would love to hear from you as a feedback from today's session, your takeaways from today's session. Thank you once again, Rajkumar sir at PSSC, and ma'am who's manning this session today. You've been a wonderful host and very, very patient. Thank you very much, dear teachers and educators, for joining us this evening into a brilliant session on inquiry-based learning. So please leave your feedback in the chat box. I would love to hear from you. I would love to know how you found this session in particular. Oh, there is a lovely level of chat quickly flowing in, and I would love to hear from all the 1400 plus odd participants who've been here with us today. Thank you, Lopamudra ma'am. That was indeed very, very humbling. Thank you very much, dear participants. Dipanita and Sarika Krishna. Thank you for that feedback as well. And yes, thank you very much, all of you. I think your attendance link will be shared in whatever format with you. Oh, lovely. Thank you. Thank you so much for motivating me also on this absolutely new Zoho platform. Maybe it will take some more, a couple of more sessions to learn the use of this session and this platform. And probably next time we will find an alternative way to play the audio as well. All right. So with your kind permission, at Patliputra Sahodaya, may I please exit today's session?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much once again. And thank you, dear participants, for that brilliant feedback. It's been very kind of you. Goodbye. God bless you. Wishing you a very happy Mahashivratri tomorrow and a very happy Women's Day also tomorrow. And wishing you a very happy and pious month of Ramzan coming up. For those of you who've been suggesting more and more sessions, do leave your suggestions with Patliputra Sahodaya School Complex if you need me to take them. Thank you once again. Goodbye. God bless you all.